Hey guys, I'm back with another update. I just want to update a little bit on the things that I've been doing in clinic and explain a little bit more of my clinic requirements that I need for this term. Now, they just taught us, I believe last week they taught us how to use the Cavett Ron. So I've been using the Cavett Ron on my clinic patients, and that's really exciting. Today, actually, I did my first 2 quads of SRPs, which in this term our requirements are only for type 1 patients, which is like light calculus or, gingivitis, things like that. Not really perio, but that's the patient that I had, I can't control what comes in the door, and I can't, predict what's gonna happen. So they just told me go ahead and do it, so I did. And honestly, it was just like scaling suprally or even a little bit sub, except that the toe of my curette was kind of disappearing more into the pockets, and I had to get right into the base of that pocket and scale and root plane. So it was really interesting and fun. I used my Cavett Ron first with the universal tip. I don't remember exactly which number it is, but it was a universal tip. It wasn't like a right or left, because I have those too, but I just used like a universal, and I got in there and I did like the first initial like cleaning with the ultrasonic, and then I went in and I hand scaled 1 quadrant. My instructor came, she did a quad check, and she made sure that there was no more deposits. I was only left, out of the 2 quadrants I did, I only had, I think it was 3 deposits that I needed to go back and clean up, which I think is really good because I've just missed, and they were in like rough areas where there was like decalcification, so it was a little tricky for me to feel in those areas to see if they were really gone, if it was decalcification or what. But yeah, it was so exciting. I felt so accomplished and like, oh, it was so crazy. So another thing that we're learning too right now is anesthetic. I'm taking the local anesthetic lab. Now, we're not going to be using any anesthetic on any clinical patients until next term, but we're doing it on each other. But today we stuck some chickens. We were like practicing injecting into chicken so we can feel like how it is to enter into tissue and like when we contact bone, and we were practicing our dialogue. So because you have to like just place the bell in, give a few drops, advance, wait a little bit, advance, then you aspirate, give a couple drops, wait a little bit, advance a little bit more. It's just very slow. Everything's very slow and step by step, because they're trying to teach us how to give really comfortable injections, and also so that we are not injecting directly into any veins or things like that, so we don't leave our patients with hematomas, which is never fun. So with clinic, how it's going right now, my requirements, and it was kind of unclear how I said it before, that's my bad, but before it was more like, in clinic, our requirements to move on is we have to do scaling on 8 quadrants. Now, if your patient qualifies, we all have 4 quadrants in our mouths, depending on how many teeth we have and all that stuff, it has to amount to 8 quadrants. And so if you do the math, that's 2 people. And I know it may seem like, well, you only have to clean 2 people's teeth, but the thing is that with these 9 weeks of clinic, we only are in the clinic 2 times a week. And it takes a very long time just to do the assessments. So usually you're seeing your patient 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times, depending how how fast you are, because it's not a race, how fast you are getting your assessments done, and your DHDX, which is hygiene diagnosing, diagnosing and things like that. Because how it's been going for me. The first appointment, I took the entire time just doing assessments. So assessments would be like vitals, EIO, which is intraoral and extraoral examination, well, medical history, then vitals and that. And then if they need x-rays, you take their x-rays, grading their x-rays, hard tissue. The doctor has to check off on everything and make sure that you're good to go. And then you have to jump into gingival description and then probing the entire mouth, doing bleeding index, plaque index. Plaque index comes after because they don't want you to stain the tissue with the pink disclosing. But that's part of it. And then after you've gotten everything down and have everything documented, then you have your CI come and then you give your recommendations and your treatment plan, and they have to check off on you, and they essentially do the same thing that you just did, but just to make sure that you are on the right track, and they check everything that you did. And that's why it takes such a long time for us to get our patients done, you know. See, for me, like, one of my patients, I was able to finish this patient's assessments in the first appointment, and then I brought this patient back and I did my DHDX with my clinic instructor, and I started the patient's prophy, and I got 2 quads done, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you bring them back, you have to start all over again with updating the medical history, taking their vitals, doing a quick EIO, you know, intraoral and extraoral, and then making sure that you are in line for everything. Now, this is only if you're just seeing the patient and cleaning their teeth. That does not include, like, if you're going to pass off some learning experiences. So you have to do learning experiences and then competencies. Learning experiences are just that, you know, she can sit there and give you advice. But if you're trying to do a competency and prove that you are competent to do these procedures, they cannot help you at all. They come in, they watch you, they can't be like, oh, what about this? Or, oh, you know, like, they can't help you at all. And they just watch you and they grade you, and that's your grade for whatever it is that you're passing off. Now, passing off, so we're doing the 4 quadrants. We have to do 1 for treatment planning, 1 for sickle scaling, 1 for ultrasonic, 1 for Gracie, and then there's some x-rays that we need to take. There's an FMX, a series of bite wings, I think like an occlusal series, and I think 2 bite wings. It was like a 4 and then 2 bite wings. So technically you are like only cleaning 2 people, but you're assessing and lining yourself up for the next terms when you bring these patients back. So if you have a new patient and you bring them in and you do their assessments and you get everything all ready, so say that they're like a case type 3 and they're just like a little bit advanced for you, you can tell them, you know, schedule them in the future in, you know, the next 10, 12 weeks when you're at that level, so you can come back and continue with their cleaning because you already did all their assessments. All the x-rays that I have to take, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that one of the series of x-rays has to have mixed dentition, which means I need to get a kid in, okay? I've only seen adults, and it's kind of worrying me because I don't know anybody out here, you know? I don't know, and the people that I do know, they don't have kids, like, yeah, so it's hard. So a lot of my classmates are bringing in their own kids and just finishing that off, you know? And that is also a competency. It's a lot that we have to do in such little time, so we have to really know how to manage our time and be prepared the day before or the clinic before or whatever of the things that you're going to be passing off. So if you already know, like, because you're scheduling your own patients, it's totally up to you to fill up your schedule. The front office, they can give you recommendations for recall patients, but it's your responsibility to find your patients and to book them and to make sure that they're there. So, and it's also your responsibility to let them know how long they're going to be there, how many possible appointments that they're going to be coming in for, you know, and working around their schedule, because even though your clinic starts at 7, they might not get there until 8 because they have to drive, you know, a while, or clinic starts at 4 but they don't get out of work until 4:30, so they're not going to get there till 5, you know, things like that. So you have to be able to manage your time wisely. And that also goes towards your clinic grade. You have to have a patient in the chair at least 75% of the time to pass for the day. So, I know I had mentioned in a previous video that I had dismissed one of my patients. I got docked that day because my patient was only there for vitals, and I didn't do anything for the rest of the day. I mean, like, anything with a patient. I helped around the clinic, but I didn't, you know, work on a patient. So, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, time management. So it's like really up to you to start to get a feel for yourself and your skill and like your time management, because if you are just seeing new patients and assessing all those people and not getting any cleanings done, like that, what's the point? You have to be able to, like, when somebody comes in for their, you know, their second visit or whatever, they're coming in for their cleaning, you have to know, okay, I'm going to pass this and this and this off, or not pass it off, but like do a learning experience so that I can get my competency and things like that. And that way you don't fall behind. There's one girl in my class who I feel like she was passing things off like the first day, because she was just on it, like super on it, and I'm like so like impressed by her because her time management is so good. There was one day where she was not going to have somebody in her chair completely, and she booked a second patient. She was able to turn her room around and book a second patient so she can start her assessments, you know. Lucky for her, though, like, all her family lives nearby, and it's her family who she gets to see, who she is seeing. So they come in, you know, short notice and things like that. I wish I had that, but I do have some few friends here who I can't thank them enough for coming to be my patient, because there's some people in here who either they're new or they really just don't talk to people new to the area, I mean, or they just really don't go out a lot or don't have relatives, and they have to struggle with getting patients in from the recall list from the front office, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because we need to care for those patients too. But it's a little hard to have a stranger understand why you're taking so long for some stuff, why they have to come back 2 or 3 times and sit in the chair up to 3 hours at a time, you know, before even getting a cleaning done. So it's a little bit difficult, but I think that the first term should be reserved. Your first term of clinic, or the first go around with your clinic, however your school works, reserve that for your absolute loved ones who know that this is for a grade and that it's absolutely necessary, because it has to get done one way or another. It has to get done. And our patients are very understanding, and they may not be paying a lot of money to be there, but they're paying with their time. You know, you have to remind them that too. But also for your skill, you have to put a price on your skill, because I mean, not anybody can just wake up one day and think that they can start scaling teeth, because they can't, you know. It's a lot to learn. So you also have to value yourself and let them know, hey, if you're gonna cancel last minute, please let me know as soon as you know you can't come in, because I only have a limited appointment times, and a lot of people want to come in and have their teeth cleaned with me. So if you can't make it, please let me know. Also, it's part of my stinking grade. Like, I think that's most important. It's like, I don't want to fail. But, you know, you can't really predict with patients, but there's just one thing you guys are, if you have never worked inside of a dental office, like, that's one thing. It's just like patients sometimes, it's just funny. But anyway, so I feel like I've talked a lot. If you guys have any more questions about how my clinic works, at least, because I don't know how anybody else's other clinic works, but if you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments. You guys know I'm gonna answer them. Alright, so I will talk to you guys soon and let you guys know. I can never get a break. I'm not even filming in my car. Girl! So, I will see you guys soon with my next video. Hope you guys have a good rest of the week. Bye.